I still remember that Halloween night. The sun was setting, my mom was lighting the jack-o'-lanterns, my dad was cleaning up dinner, and I was getting my costume on. I still remember the pain in my knuckles as I clenched the white sheet with holes. Of all my 20 classmates, none of them wanted me in their group for trick-or-treating. I knew I wasn't the most popular among my class, but the fact that every single one of them flat out refused to have me hurt. But that was nothing compared to what was to become of me that night. As I picked up my pumpkin-shaped candy bucket off the counter, I heard the back door slam open as my brother Jason stomped in, still fuming at my dad had told him that instead of spending Halloween's Eve with his friends, egging houses, crushing pumpkins, and scaring trick-or-treaters, he had to walk me house to house with his pathetic ghost costume and go straight home afterward. He turned his gaze to me, but I just looked away, for I knew if looks could kill, there'll be 10 holes in my costume instead of just the 2. "Fix your face, son," my dad sternly spoke. My dad was always a no-nonsense type. Whatever he says, goes, which always caused my dad and brother to argue a lot. "Why do I have to take the bug out? You're here!" My brother snapped back. "I already told you that since your mom's in a cast, I have to stay with her and help her," my dad responded. My mom had the leg cast on her mainly caused from the car accident that my brother caused last month. As he turns, my father's voice kept lowering until he was facing my brother. "And don't think I don't know about your real plans at Todd's house." My brother looked shocked, but before he could speak, my mom spoke up. "Enough, both of you! I know who are mad that you can't go out with your friends tonight, but I think this is a chance to spend some time with your sibling. You barely spend time with each other anymore." My mom motioned at me, then turned back to my brother. "Look, just take them around the neighborhood and avoid Hollows Forest, and be back by 9 o'clock, okay?" My brother huffed in response and shuffled past my mom, earning daggers from my dad. "Let's go, bug!" my brother called over his shoulder. I waved goodbye to my parents and ran into the night. As we walked, I could hear his muttering increasing. I looked up at him as I was about to open my mouth to ask a question. He said, "You know this is Dad's using this as a punishment? I mean, seriously, why else wouldn't he go except to avoid you?" My brother and I never saw eye to eye. He always saw me as a pathetic weakling, while I did my best to avoid him due to him earning the title of the most infamous bully out of school. That's half the reason why no one wants to be friends with me. As we continued to walk, we heard from behind. "Hey, Jason, where have you been?" My skin crawled. I recognized that voice from anywhere. It was Todd, my brother's best friend. "Hey, man, I got stuck with Bug Patrol." My brother laughed as he fist bumped Todd. "My old man did this in all of his smartness to make me walk the bug around to teach me something." Todd laughed in response. I knew this was only the start. When those two teamed up, only trouble is the only thing that starts. "You know, man, we can go to Hollows Forest and do the Hollows Challenge," Todd told Jason. "Hollows Challenge?" I thought. "What is this Hollows Challenge?" I asked Todd. Todd looked at me with a smile. You have to go deep into the forest and shout, "Oh, horseman, horseman, I have your head!" 3 times. Then you run as fast as you can into the bridge over the water. Okay, that doesn't sound too bad, I thought. Oh, I almost forgot, Todd had continued. You have to be careful not to let the headless horseman catch you, or he gets your head. My skin turned white. Wow, how thrilling, I responded. Jason laughed. Yeah, but it's only for brave kids. I'm brave, I yelled back at him. Oh, my brother looked shocked. Then how about you go first? If you do it, I'll call you by your name for a whole year. Without hesitation, I shouted, deal. Whoa, mate, are you sure? Most don't try until they're... Or Jason started to say, trying to talk me down. Oh, no, man, let the boat do it, my brother interrupted while grabbing my arm. They continued to whisper back and forth as we went to the forest entrance. During the walk, I failed to notice how Todd's expression turned from awkward to concerning. Well, here we are, my brother said as I stared into the dark abyss of the forest. Mom and Dad always said we needed to go with them when we wanted to go in there, and only during the day. But like hell, I was going to give up the chance to get Jason's respect. Well, go on, Jason shoved me forward. As I ran to the forest, I heard Todd shout, "Remember me! Run to the water bridge! We'll be waiting for you!" As I ran further and further into the forest, it became darker and foggier, till I couldn't see anything. This should do it, I said to myself as I stopped to catch my breath. The air was frigid, and I could barely see the night sky. As I faced up, I took a deep breath and shouted, "Horseman, horseman, I have your head! Horseman, horseman, I have your head! Horseman, horseman, I have your head!" I paused and looked around. And once I said it, all I could hear was nothing. With all the noise of the forest I was hearing before, it was now suddenly so silent. After a minute, I took a deep breath and sighed. This was silly. I mean, he's not real, is he? No, this is just a game my brother was trying to do to scare me. Okay, what was the next thing I had to... I wasn't dumb. I immediately started running as fast as I can through the forest. Hearing started a light sound turned maniacal as I heard laughing from behind me, stomping closer and closer as I ran. And I was running for my life. I was starting to regret everything I did. And why did I do this? Why did I do this? Why did I... My thoughts were interrupted when I tripped over a hard rock, fumbling into the fog. Ow. My knees hurt. As tears began to form, I heard the stomping growing louder and louder. Everything was getting so loud. I was freaking out. I covered my ears. It kept getting louder until I heard an ear-piercing scream. All was quiet. Too quiet. I couldn't stop shivering. Tears were about to fall down my face. As I was about to cry out, I heard it. As I turned around to the noise, I saw a light in the distance. As the light grew brighter and brighter, I saw a figure next to it, becoming more clear from the fog. A black horse with piercing red eyes and a metal mask was trotting forward. On its black saddle, there was a man with a black cloak. He was holding a jack-o'-lantern in his left hand. He was wearing a red vest, very detailed, and on his neck there was a beautiful purple amulet. I froze when I saw that above that there was nothing, not even a head. It was nothing. I froze more. It was him, the headless horseman. The horse stopped next to me, and the rider turned down to my rigid form. I didn't know what to do. We were standing there, him peering down at me, looking at my soul for all I know. In my fear, I noticed my arms were going up with my pumpkin candy bucket that managed to stay attached to my arm, and I held it up to them. Time seemed to freeze. All was silent as we stared at each other. For what felt like forever, the horseman put his pumpkin into his right hand and then bowed it to me, showing its jack-o'-lantern head to me. The fiery face was warm and bright. It felt like sunlight. I laughed at the warmness. It felt so comforting, actually. It felt like a warm fire that we usually have in our living room. I looked past the pumpkin and head to the horseman, not knowing what fully to say, but wanting to leave, go home. I said quietly, if you don't mind, I'm trying to find the water bridge. Do you know where it is from here? The horseman paused, then straightened up. I looked down at my feet immediately, noticing how dirty my white sheet became. My thoughts were spinning around me, thinking, why did you ask that? What were you thinking? He probably is thinking, like, what the heck is this kid doing out here? My thoughts were paused when I felt two hands under my armpits. As I looked up, I noticed the horseman was off his horse and pulling me up to where I was sat on the horse's black saddle. The horseman was right next to me, holding the reins, and used his left hand to pick up the pumpkin and motioned it forward. I watched in astonishment as the pumpkin rose from his hand and floated forward in front of the horse, lighting the way. With two pats on his rump, the horse moved forward into the fog, with the horseman walking right next to us. As we walked into the fog, I looked at the horseman. He was very quiet. I had no idea what was he thinking. He probably thought I was crazy for walking around. But for some reason, it was very comforting. Never in my life I never felt so comfortable, especially with someone with no head. As I looked ahead, I noticed the fog began to lessen and into just air as he reached the end of the forest. I could see down the hill of the exit, and there was the water bridge. There it is! I cheered as the horseman lowered me to the ground. Without even thinking, I turned around and hugged the horseman. At first, he felt so rigid and stiff, but he leaned into the hug and reciprocated. Thank you so much, Mr. Horseman, I said as I turned to the water bridge. I will remember this. Thank you. Happy Halloween! As I run to the bridge waving the horseman goodbye. As I got to the bridge, I saw Todd there, pacing back and forth, looking very nervous. I yelled, Todd, I did it, getting his attention. He stopped from his pacing, and he looked at me and ran towards me. I first thought he was going to clobber me, but then he pulled me into a tight hug. I thought he was going to squeeze the life out of me. Thank God, mate! I thought you were still freaking me out. Where's I thought you Jason? were gone. I asked him. He set me down.
Todd
and
froze.
Hang at me up and down.
I don't know.
I looked around Todd. I noticed my brother wasn't
went in after
around.
you. After a minute, you ran in. I froze. What? But wait, no one was there except.
I turned back to the forest.
He didn't, I thought.
I ran back up to the hill, Todd following me after, her saying, Wait, don't go, wait, come back. I thought maybe if I asked the horseman if he's seen him, maybe he can help him like he helped me. As I got to the top, I said, Maybe we can ask... He's gone. When we got there, all that was at the hilltop were leaves in the forest. I was shocked, but I knew something. This was not the end of the night. They didn't find Jason until dawn. He was found hiding in the dirt pit, scared out of his mind. He refused to tell his soul what happened. Even to this day, he still won't go into the forest. But in a silver lining, I guess, he stopped calling me Bug and treated people with respect. Mom and Dad were at first furious at him for abandoning me into the woods and then getting lost in there, scaring everyone unto death. But they thought this was a good punishment for him. They thought he finally matured. Though I knew this was not just simple maturing. I knew that he would remember that night of Hallows Eve but I will remember that night for a different reason. I will forever remember the horseman I met that night.